Alright, this is the build video for this 3D printed plane I have available on Cults. It runs off of 2S, but I'm going to try it on 3S, so we'll see how that goes. So this is printed out of lightweight PLA, but for the video today I printed one out of PLA because I want to see what the difference is in weight and if it will fly. So here we go. First thing we're going to do is we are going to glue our wings together. So you take your left and right inner and outer, and what I've been doing is using the servo to help align the wings together, and that way you get a better alignment and you know the servo fits. So when you're gluing these, make sure that you are not gluing your servo in. So you got to be careful not to get any glue near the servo, because you need to be able to pull this out to slide it through the fuselage. So one other thing to note is both these wings are symmetrical, except for the bottom here. So you'll notice the servo hole here. This is square here, and then on the bottom there's a little cutout, and that's where the wire is going to go. So you know this is the bottom. So let's go ahead and glue this together. Again, taking care that we don't get any glue near that servo cutout. Okay. Just like so. Get our servo in there to help align it together. Okay. Something else is yeah, you gotta move kind of quickly. Get your everything aligned. Make sure that the servo is not glued in. Once you're happy with the alignment, you can wipe off any excess glue because it'll make it easier to pass through the fuselage. Okay, and then quick spray. I don't like to use a lot of this stuff because it lingers up in the air and it makes for it activates glue later on faster, which makes things difficult. This is a tight fit, so we're gonna carefully pull the servo back out and just set that off to the side. So when we're gluing on our left and right outer wings, we want to make sure that you put the left one on the left, of course, and the right one on the right. And you'll know if it's right because it'll actually line up nice and straight. If you put the wrong one on, you'll see that it doesn't line up correctly. So we know that one goes on the right and this one goes on the left. So once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and glue that in. I always like to cover my my glue before I spray anything down because it likes to get the cap stuck on there. Or yeah, just like that. That's looking good. Okay, we'll do the same on the other side. Wipe some of that off. All right, so for the next step, you want to make sure that the room is kind of aired out because you don't want this stuff lingering in the air because you need working time to get these these hinges in before the glue settles. So I'm gonna take our hinge material and we'll get it set up here, but I'm going to open up this door so that let it air out a little bit in here before I do this next step. So first we're going to take our aileron. We're going to glue it together. Again, a lot of this does not take a lot of glue. So put those two together, make sure it's nice and lined. I like to wipe off the excess glue so there's not those globs. Just like that. I'll just let that one sit and I'll hold it. Because I don't want that accelerator on these ailerons before I put the hinges on. That's not going to work. All right, let's quick spray. Get that stuff activated. There we go. That's better. All right. So in the files, I included this piece right here. I think I named it the hinge something. I'll look. But this is the gap that you want in the hinges when you glue these hinges together. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of put it together before we glue it. Make sure everything fits. Make sure the slots in here actually fit the hinge material. Or if there's any trimming you need to do or issues you're going to run into, like this one's got a little glob on it that's preventing me from sliding the two pieces in. So we're going to go like that and like that, and then slide the aileron on. Take our little piece here, and then if you hold that flat, you can see gives you a nice perfect line in between. When we're putting this together, make sure you do put a little bit of a gap here between the wing and the aileron to allow it to move a little bit. Okay, so and then this is the part where you don't want the glue to settle on you too fast. So make sure you're well ventilated and work slow but fast. You don't need a whole lot of glue on these. Just kind of get it in there. Let it sit while you get the next one ready. There we go. So get those in place. And then I put a little dab of glue on the outside here. Like that. Cover up the glue. And then I will carefully slide those into those tabs. Okay, once those are there, take our spacer, our hinge spacer, that's what I called it. Make sure we're aligned. Looks good. Quick spray. Let that sit. Okay, should be good. And oop, needs a little bit more. That one did not glue in. Maybe it just didn't set it. There it goes. All right, and we have a nice aileron hinge. Okay, and then once everything airs out a bit here, we will do the other side. At least that's my plan. All right, so now we are going to join the wing and the fuselage, and these two are just going to slide together like this. This part gets a little tricky because I kind of have a very low tolerance in between the fuselage and the wing, so just work slowly, carefully. It will go, I promise. So don't force it too much, but this is part of the reason why I was saying wipe the glue off so that you don't, what do you call it, so that makes this part a little bit easier. But once, there we go, nice and slow. I promise it does go, and then once it's in there, it is a little bit loose. So, okay, so, and there we go. Wing is attached to fuselage. So this is kind of where you have an option. If you want to glue this in, you can. I'm gonna actually try and hot glue it because I want this plane to be as replaceable as possible. So if I hot glue it and I crash, which I will, and I just need to replace the wings, the hot glue is a little bit easier to replace or to get that wing out, and then I don't have to reprint the whole thing. Okay, so a couple things here I noticed. If you set it on the nose, the wing will kind of sit in there nicely. Actually, I did this on the other build. I like it like this, and then it sits down in that bottom part a little bit better. Okay, just take a little ruler here, make sure you're centered up between the fuselage and kind of where the aileron starts. So just make sure you are nice and centered. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'll let you know how the hot glue idea goes. Otherwise, I'll just glue the next version. If you're going to use hot glue, again, be kind of quick and you don't want that hot glue to melt your plastic. So I'm just going to tack it in a couple places like that. And I meant to grab a piece of foam board so to do the wiping, but this paper towel will have to do for now. I am gonna go grab a piece of foam board and do this. Be right back. Okay, so here we go. For those of you that do flight test builds, might understand this technique, but basically you put a bead of glue right in your crease, and then you take the foam board and almost like caulking a bathroom, right? So that's all I'm doing here. And it not going to take a lot, it just needs to hold the wing in place. Like that. There we go. I think I'm gonna fill this gap up here in the front too. go. Fuselage is now connected to the wing. Let's let that dry. Next part, we can go ahead and glue on our nose while we're working on the forward part here, and then we'll move to the back. So, got our, let's see, yeah, that looked good. All right, get our nose ready. Again, make sure air is clear of the accelerators because we want to be able to manipulate this. Quick spray. Oh, if you were wondering about my color scheme, it's basically, I was using whatever leftover filament I had. So some are green, some are white. There's not a theme to it. I even got a little bit of red here in the tail. So here we go. So there we go. The fuselage, or the front fuselage put together. So set that off to the side, and we're going to work on our tail. There we go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the elevator together, just like the ailerons. Some hot glue on me. I'll get some more of this hinge material. I've been through this build multiple times, so I've got all sorts of different color filaments working here. Set the water aside there. All right, so same thing as before. I'm gonna put the tabs together, or tabs in, make sure that everything fits, everything gets, or you're not going to run into any issues when you go to put the two parts together. So there we go. It's going to be nice and easy. We'll practice our move, or practice the part. So that's going to go like that, and then spray. Looks good. All right. I'm going to do it this way because I'm right-handed. Okay. right, should be good. Yep. There you go. Have an elevator. So again, this is symmetrical, so there's not an up and down to this one, so you don't have to worry too much about how it fits in here. So, and then let's do the same thing as the wing to the fuselage. Get this in there, line it up. Use my, there we go. There we go. That looks about right. Okay. And there we go. Elevator is on. Next is the rudder. This is a little bit more difficult because you got to kind of do it vertical, and you can try and, I don't know, however you feel comfortable doing this part, but it's the same process as before. Practice your move. Whoops. Oh, well, that printed all the way through. So, well, so you can see if if I put this in there, it drops all the way through. So we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do this. I think we'll do it from the side here, or actually, I'll put the pieces in the rudder first, which that goes way deep in too. All right. I think what I'm going to do here is let these sit and cure without the accelerator, because that hinge seems to be going in too deep. I'm not sure what the issue is. I'll see if I can fix it before I release the file, but it is what it is. So once those seem to be secure in place, then we won't get that. In there. Well, it doesn't look like the spacer is too much use, so you're just gonna have to eyeball this one. Okay. That feels good. And looks like the rudder works great. Elevator and rudder. Awesome. All right, so now I kind of leave the two pieces in halves to do the electronics, or at least the forward end electronics. So what we're gonna do here is first we'll get the motor mounted. Okay, so I already put the motor on. As you can see, pretty straightforward. Just I use 2 bolts right here. Throw the motor on, and then I already tested to make sure that it's spinning in the right direction, so I didn't want to take it apart, but you get the idea. Okay, and then I got the option. You can either put this in and glue it in place, or take some M2 screws and nuts and bolt it in. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is these little slots right here will fit a M2 nut. I made the fit kind of tight, so you may have to use a little bit of force to get it in there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that the screw this in first. Make sure that the nut is aligned with the holes before I tie it onto the nose there. So what that one is, so it looks good. Pull that out. So it looks like a 8mm M2 bolt will work. So we're going to do the same for the other side. Now, with a little cut, it goes up. Slide that into here. Should squeeze and go nice and flush right with the nose there. So, like I said, if you want to, you can glue it, or what I'm going to try and do is make most of these parts replaceable. Or, yeah, replaceable. So what I'm going to do here also, I'm just adding a little washer to the 8mm bolt, just to give it a little extra surface to hold on to. Screw that in. Don't over tighten, it doesn't need to be super tight. So that was a 8mm bolt. So you can kind of see this this kit I bought off of Amazon. So pretty useful. All right, next part is kind of tricky. This is I'm gonna go ahead and get the ailerons on with the control horns. So first feed your aileron wire through. Just be careful not to damage your servo wire here. And what I've had to do is turn that a bit and get this in. And then nice and gentle, snaps right in. You got your aileron wire. All right, and I've got my servo tester here that I'm going to use to zero the servo. That's not very straight. There we go. All right, we'll just leave that plugged in, leave it zeroed while we do the next step. I left the screw off of the servo horn, and that's because we're going to be taking that on and off. So next we got some push rods here, and we're going to need a couple control horns. Okay, so I didn't put any control horn like locators or a slot in there. Because I like to use just Z-bins for everything, and so when you know, when you're trying to line up a Z-bin to something that's already like a control horn that's already supposed to be in place, I always get it off. So I would rather hook or make my control horn and then glue this in place. I just find that a little bit easier. So if you have the adjustable clevises, then you know that might be easier for you. So all right, so this part I'm going to feed the control horn or the push rod through. I'm going to use the outermost hole on the servo horn. Just like that. Kind of find a position where it's centered in that hole. Get an idea of where you want it to bend. So probably right around there. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, so hold that position there, pull your control rod out. All right, so we want it to go 90 degrees from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this servo in place because it's moving around a lot and it's gonna mess with my my alignment here to the aileron. Just a little dot of glue will do the trick. Let that cool. Okay. There we go. That's looking good. Looks like that length is going to work. So before I glue this horn down, what I'm going to do is use it to make the other side. So make this one exactly the same as that one, and it should work. Haven't figured out the perfect method for getting both of these control horns on there. I think attaching them first and then feeding them through the holes might be your best option. But whatever you get, however you can get these attached and through the holes. There we go. That might work. There we go. In. All right, so there we go. We got that one attached. I'm gonna do the same on the other side, just like this. Make sure our ailerons are level. Oh boy. Knew it. Make sure your servo is centered before doing this. So hopefully we didn't mess it up too much here. Yeah, it's good. Oh, yeah. Make sure your servo is centered. And actually, Okay, here we go. All right, so we can give the elevators or ailerons a quick little test. Looking like they're working. They're working. We can go ahead and put that screw in. Hold that in place. Looks good. So now we're going to move on to the tail. So I found it easiest if you put the servos in before you put the back end on, just so you have a little bit of room to work. Okay, and what I've been doing is putting the wires so that they go back, because it kind of helps clear the servo horn from the wing here elevator. So again, tight tolerances, just take your time, slowly kind of get it in there until it's flush. Okay, do the same on the other side. There we go. Looks good. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and feed these wires up to the front. Have all of them up here. Okay, then what I'm going to do is go ahead and plug these two into my servo saver, keep them zeroed. Make sure they're actually zeroed. Okay. And so one thing I learned on the last model is, is that it'll work better if, it'll work better if you have both horns sticking up and the control horns go above the horizontal stabilizer. Otherwise, it kind of looks like this, where it's hanging down. You can see how that might be a problem with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over turn this around right now. Okay, looks good. All right, so now I think we're ready to join the front and back sections. So same thing that I did on the motor there. You can see these little holes. That's where I'm going to put a bolt. Again, if you don't want to bolt it, you can easily just glue the two pieces together and away we go. So here we go. Might be better if I did this before I put the servos in, but okay. I think the 12 millimeter. We'll see. So I'm going to screw this in, make sure that the bolt aligns before I put the two together. So again, and then I'll back it out and put the aft end on there. So looks like we're good. So I'll do the same on the other side. And go ahead and drive the screw in. A little bit first. So these are, well, I'm using 12 millimeter M2 screws here, but you kind of use whatever size you think, or whatever size you have, that'll work. But I just happen to grab 12 and they seem to work. And there we go. I'm going to do the same thing that we did over here for the ailerons, for the rudder and elevator. So I'm going to do the rudder first. We're using some control rods that I've had. Seeing if one of them will fit. Looks like it's not bent the right way. That's right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and glue these servos in place now. All right, so there we go. Sorry about that. Had trouble bending this push rod because it's a little extra thick. I just use what I have in my builds. So this rod is pretty thick, so I had to take it down to the garage to bend it. But a little test here of control surfaces. Looking good. Yeah. All right. So that's the build. Everything else is kind of, you know, whatever you guys use for electronics. I use a gyro because I'm a terrible pilot. Oh, I forgot one other thing with the build here that I do. So again, this is kind of optional, but I got this in there, and this will fit 2 of these. And it's a nice tight fit, just like that. Okay, and where I've been putting this is right here underneath the hatch. I'll glue that in there, and then the batteries slide right in. So, and you gotta kind of test here. So we got just about everything in place. Once we get the gyro in there, it's gonna go about there. Batteries go here. I gotta put a prop on, but the hatch. Well, what I've been doing is I kind of bend the edges up a little bit just so that it fits on here a little bit better. If you want to, you can take a control horn and kind of glue it in there if you want, but the way I've been putting it in here is just kind of stick it in here in the front. It should hook right underneath there, and then pull the center up. Oh, that didn't work out as well. Just like that. So, and it kind of sits right down on there. There we go. All right, let's try a barrel roll. Oh my gosh. Woo! That is responsive. There we go. Let's do it again. Oh yeah.